My name is Jasmine and I'm 25, standing at the edge of a revealing journey. This story is about love, betrayal, and the painful lessons clarity brings. Once, she and I were inseparable, like two halves of a single soul. Since high school, our bond was unbreakable, or so I believed. People would joke that we were two sides of one coin, forever connected. She knew all my secrets, I knew hers. Our trust was absolute. We dreamed together, whispered promises over hurried coffee, swearing eternal companionship. We vowed we'd never let life or anyone pull us apart. But the truth was harsher and more insidious. She did. I first sensed the shift in subtle ways, almost imperceptible yet undeniable. Her voice had pauses that hadn't been there before. Her gaze grew distant and unfocused. The sparkle in her eyes dimmed whenever I shared my victories, which puzzled me. She laughed too loudly at others' jokes, but grew silent when I shared mine. I convinced myself I was imagining it, clinging to the truth I so desperately needed. Because when someone's your safe harbor, you don't want to believe they're also the storm. Then came the day she introduced him into her world, and everything changed. He was the guy I confided in her about, and she told me she was happy for me. She promised to always have my back, her words echoing like a shield around my heart. Deep inside, I sensed a barrier forming, an unseen wall I couldn't cross. One night, she looked into my eyes, her expression calm and unshaken. She told me she loved him too, with no hesitation or guilt in her voice. I couldn't help but laugh, not from amusement, but from deep pain that engulfed me. Pain sometimes breathes in silence, in the cracks where hope once lived, I realized. I thought losing a lover would be the hardest pain, but I was wrong. Losing my best friend, someone I trusted implicitly, to the one I loved, that's different. It feels like your heart is torn in two, each piece bleeding anew. She softly said, "I never meant to hurt you," but her words felt hollow. Betrayal often arrives masked as kindness, with apologies painted in false sincerity. I stopped speaking not just to her or him, but to the world around me. My silence became my armor, protecting me from overwhelming grief and confusion. People told me to forgive, to forget, but how to forgive that deep betrayal? How do you forgive someone who knew where your vulnerabilities lay and still chose to dig them up? Weeks turned into months, and still I watched her share moments with him online. The same hands once held mine now held his, delicate and intimate and new. She looked genuinely happy, unbound, and I was haunted by her radiant smile. In these quiet moments, I learned to disappear without physically leaving. I healed inwardly. But pain morphs. It becomes quieter, sharper, more insistent in its presence. One day I looked at my reflection and saw resilience staring back at me. Without her, without him, I was still standing, stronger than I'd ever been. She reached out one day, surprising me with a simple message. "I missed you." Her words echoed like a fragile whisper, an attempt to mend what was broken. She said she wanted to return to how things were, to the way it used to be. But betrayal changes everything. Before ceases to exist once trust is shattered. That past, once cherished, now lies buried beneath layers of betrayal's weight. I realized that once true trust dies, so does the notion of before, replaced by indifference. I chose silence over vengeance, strength over pain, calm over chaos. I quietly responded, "I wish you well," feeling the truth of my words within. Her face looked small, fragile, vulnerable, and I saw her clearly for the first time. That moment taught me that true power comes not from revenge, but from indifference. Walking away with my head held high, I embraced my silent resilience. Not because I forgot, but because I chose to remember my own worth. Her betrayal was a painful catalyst, but also an awakening to love myself more fiercely. Every scar from her betrayal reminded me I was stronger than my pain. In the end, I chose myself. My happiness, my peace, my future came first. Overcoming heartbreak wasn't about seeking revenge. It was about moving forward, healing. And with each step, I knew I was finally free from the storm she brought into my life. This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about finding strength in vulnerability. Love can hurt, but it also teaches us who we truly are inside. And I, Jasmine, now know that real power is embracing your own worth alone.